Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Well, yesterday in the mail, I got Adam from Notion Bonsai's new book, the Happy Bonsai Handbook. So today I'm going to review the book and we're going to prune up my London plane tree forest. I'm going to start today by reviewing Adam's new book, the Happy Bonsai Book by Adam McCallion. Adam is from Ireland and he has the YouTube channel Notion Bonsai. And I've been following Adam for a long time, way back in the days when he was in film school and he was making these cool videos. And yeah, I started following him more for photography and video making, and then he got into bonsai and he's now a bonsai professional, doing it full time. And he's written his first book. So when I look at a new bonsai book, there's a couple of criteria that I really enjoy in a book. One is that I feel the book should inspire you to get into bonsai or to continue with bonsai, and this book does that. It's fantastic. There's fantastic photography in it. It's really a nice, good-looking, well-laid-out book, and lots of inspiring pictures, drawings, photographs that will inspire you to further your bonsai journey. So it accomplishes that. It's an inspiring book. And the second thing is techniques. There's lots and lots of techniques in this book, from clip and grow, wiring, air layering, everything in here, and all the different styles, sizes of bonsai, species specific information. I'll show you a quick look through the book. So there's the cover, and Adam was nice enough to sign the book for me. Thanks very much, Adam. I appreciate it. I love signed books. Yeah, so in the book there's pests, all kinds of tips, techniques, beautiful photographs, beautiful drawings. Yeah, I'll just give you a quick look through it. Growing, creating bonsai from cuttings, seeds, root pruning. Yeah, it goes through everything. Yeah, it's an amazing book. Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised at the quality of the book and how thorough it is. It's a very, very good book. And I sure like some of the drawings in it. They're just fantastic. Yeah, a very, very good book. Congratulations, Adam. You did a fantastic job on the book. It is starting to rain outside. If you're interested in purchasing one of Adam's books, I'll put links to the book in the description below. And check out Adam's channel, Notion Bonsai. It's a lot of his personal experience in growing and developing bonsai. I'm going to prune up the London plane tree forest now. So these trees were germinated by Michael from the KW Club in 2021. So the trees are only 4 years old and they're already starting to get fairly thick trunks on them. Naturally in nature, these London plane trees get fairly large leaves, not giant, but fairly large. But they can be reduced quite easily, and that's often the case on large leaf trees, is that it's quite easy to reduce the leaf size at least in half just by growing it in a container. And then with leaf pruning and getting fine ramification on the tree, you can reduce them again by half, so you can get the leaf size to be about a quarter of what the leaf size is on the trees in nature. So I'm not worried about the larger leaves because I know they will reduce over time. You can see some of the leaves on the tree are very tiny, about the size of my thumbnail almost. And you can get the whole trees to eventually have that leaf size. They get spectacular fall colors. Yeah, so quite a good species for bonsai. So I'm quite excited to develop this forest into the future. So today I'm going to prune it back. I let it grow for the entire summer, and it's been growing in a tray of water, which really helps these trees grow, gets them through the hottest days of summer without the leaves curling up and drying out. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you grow these London plane trees in a tray of water. Here is a look at the forest so you can see the beautiful fall colors on them. Yeah, I really like the fall colors. There's the trunk, so I put the thicker trees up front and the skinnier trees towards the back, and I kind of arranged this forest. I think it was last year I repotted it into this pot. They were just a clump in kind of a training pot. I separated them all, root pruned them all, and planted it as a forest. So I've got to determine a height that I'll be pruning it back. The thicker trees will be the highest trees, and the trees in the background will be smaller, and that'll give a forced perspective in the planting. I'm getting quite a bit of branching on some of these trees, which is really nice, and it's quite, the branching's quite fine on them, despite, the thick trunks, which is good. It's encouraging. On a forest planting like this, you don't want your trunks to be highly tapered. It would look quite funny if you had highly tapered trees arranged in a forest. It would look a little strange. So you want your trees to kind of be slim, taper nicely up to the apexes to give it that natural look. I'm going to begin the pruning now, and I'm going to start with the tallest and thickest tree out front. And you can see I have a lot of branching forming on it, so I wouldn't want to, prune it back, losing all that branching. I think all the branching is quite good on it, but I don't want it as tall as it is. It's at least twice as tall as it should be. So I've got to pick a point to prune it, and I have to decide. I could prune it way back, keeping this branching down lower, or I can keep this branching up top and prune it kind of to about here. I think that would do. I like this branching here. Yeah, I think I might as well keep this branching up top. So I will prune it. On this shoot here, I have a branch forming here, so I could prune the top off there, so I will. So here I go, taking the end of that branch off. And then on the strongest part here, ideally I'd want something fanning out this way. I do have some buds here. There's some buds up top. There's one here going the right direction, but that would make it too tall. So I think I'm going to go back to this bud here. So I'll prune it halfway between the nodes here, taking the whole top off the tree. And I think that's quite a good height. I will seal these cuts up with rubber cement so they don't dry up. Like that. And then I'll prune up some of these branches too, so I'm just looking for buds. There's a stump here I can take away. Another stub here. So I think there's some good buds here. There's one facing outwards. This branch is kind of coming from the front of the tree, but in future I could rotate it slightly. There's a good outward facing bud here, so I'll take it off just above there. Like that. This branch out the back is getting quite tall. I've got a bud facing outwards here, which is quite nice. There's one kind of facing the wrong direction there. There's a good bud facing the right direction. But if I prune to this one, it'd be too tall, so I think I'm going to go right back to that first bud. Like that. Making that branch quite compact. There's a stub here I can remove from last time I pruned it. Another stub here. And one here. I think that's got the main tree pruned up. You can see I did a big cut here that's healing over really nicely. Yeah, that's doing well. Okay, so that is the start of pruning my forest. So that will be the highest point in the forest. And generally a nice rounded asymmetrical triangle always looks good in a forest. So I will prune the other trees, the height of them accordingly. So this one, the next tree I'll prune, I'll want it shorter than the main tree. So I'm looking for buds on that. And I have one facing up the front here. I was wondering, would that be too low? No, I think that's okay. So I'll prune it to that bud of the front. My next highest bud is up here. So here's the bud I'm going to prune to, right here. The next one's up here, and that would make it too tall. It would be almost the height of the main tree. So I'll prune it halfway between the leaf or the buds. So here I go, taking the whole top off that tree. And I just do a flat cut. Just taking out some old leaves. And then I've got to prune up the branches. So I've got a stub here I can remove. And this one, I've got a good leaf here. There's one at the back, one at the front. I think I'll prune it off here. And I noticed there's a scale insect on the tree here. So I'll show you that. So right in here, if you look at the junction there, you can see there's like a blister. It's a scale insect. And I think that's the only one that I see so far. So I'll just scrape that off so you can come in and just remove it like that. And I'll spray everything with soap and water when I'm done here. So now I'll prune up the branches. So I'll get rid of some stubs from the last time I pruned it. I'm not sure if this branch survived. Part of it's dead for sure, but I'll leave it. And then this branch is getting very tall. So again, I'm looking for buds. I have one at the back here, one at the front here. I think that front one. So I'll go to here, taking the top off that branch. I have a little branch here, that's fine. There's a dead one here behind it. I'll take off. There's a stub here I can remove. There's a branch up the back here. It has a good bud here, so I'll take it off here. And there's a dead part here I can remove. And I'll take this one off here. I'll just remove these old leaves. I can see on this one I have a new branch coming up the front, and behind I have an existing trunk line. So this is the new branch and this is the older trunk. I could take off the one directly behind, and I think I will. It's just not a good idea to have multiple trunks in line. If it was fanning out the other way, it would be okay, but so I'm taking that one off. There it is there. And I'll try and clean that up. That's good there. Okay, so that tree's pruned up. I'll seal all those cuts with rubber cement. Here. Okay. So there's 2 trees pruned in the forest now. So the next tree, I'll continue on this side, creating that rounded asymmetrical triangular silhouette to the forest. So this next tree, it's doing well. I've got a bud out here, which would be too tall. The trees, as you go back in the planting, should get shorter too. So not only should you have you don't have to, but not only do I want an asymmetrical rounded triangle from the front view, but also from the side. So you have your tallest trees at the front and they taper away at the back. So I'll have to cut this one shorter. And I'm thinking I've got some good branches here, so I'm going to do a fairly drastic cut here, taking the top off like that, shortening that quite a bit, and I'll clean that up, that cut, kind of make it flush. So that's shorter, and then I have a branch reaching up here that I need to prune back. I've got a good bud at the back, one at the front, so I'll take it off right here. I think that's a good height. This tree on the outside here, it needs to be even shorter. I have a division here that I'd like to keep. So, let me see. Yeah, it needs to be quite short. Well, I'll try pruning it here, keeping part of that division, and then this one I'll prune to here. And it looks short enough. I think that's good. Yeah, I think that'll do. Just take off these dead leaves here. Lots of strings from the rubber cement here. There. I could tip prune this branch too. I will. And probably this one also. And maybe even, I already pruned that one, so that's done. Okay, looking good. So next I have this one at the very back. So it needs to be just a little taller than this one. I've got a good bud here, so I'll take it off right here. It didn't have any ramification on it. There's not much branching up top. Well, it's looking good. So next, I think I want to do this tree. This one's not too bad a height except for the one back branch. So I'll prune this one next. So I'll want it kind of down to here. So I'll keep this branch and I'll prune off the top one, sort of right here, leaving a stub like that. And then this one coming up the front, I have all kinds of buds all over it. I think I'll prune it to an outward facing one right here. At least to there. I might go lower. Maybe I will go lower. It's getting a little tall. I'll take the tip bud off this one. And then I need to prune this strong one back here. I have a branch coming out the back that I think would be good. So I'm going to prune it off to that back branch. Like that. I think that's a fairly good height. I could tip prune this one also. Yeah, that's got that tree pruned up, so I'll make sure I seal my cuts. Sealing these cuts just stops the branch drying out, kind of, yeah, seals the moisture in. Okay, so next I'll do this tree here. So I want it kind of in between these, so I will prune this one back to here. And I have a lot of good fine branching all down here. There is one out the back that I could prune back. Right to there. And the tall one here, I have a bud out the back, which is at a good height, so I'll take it off just above there. Taking the whole top off that branch. That looks a good height. So next is my tree on the end, and that should be quite short. I've got a good branch here, and there's one down lower, so I could cut it off quite short. I have kind of a straight section here, and then more branches up top. These are too high, so I'm going to have to go lower. So I will take it off way back to here, if I can get in here. Maybe like this. There, taking the top off that tree. Just clean that cut up a bit. I was kind of cutting at an angle. Like that. I'll seal that. Okay. Now I've got that tree out the back, which is quite thick actually for a tree in the back, but you know, variety is good. So where to prune that one? That's the question. I think somewhere about here would be ideal, but there I don't see many buds. There's one at the back there. Yeah, it's a little tall. Well, maybe that's the one. I have a bud here, this bud here. I could just cut it off right here, and I think that's probably the best place. So here I go. Cutting the whole top off. Done. I took the top off this tree at the back, and it was still a little high, so I took it back a little further. I think that looks better. I want it a little shorter than the one out front. So I still have one more tree to prune up, and that's this one. So the height of that, probably about here, so I can keep some of this branching. So I'll take it off at least to here. So here I go. Taking the top off. Now, does that still look too high? It does. Still looks too high, so I need to reduce it back further. I've got two branches coming out the front, one to the side, and I'm just trying to think how. Yeah, it still looks a little tall. So there's a look from the front. I think I'm going to have to go right back to this branch coming out the front here. So I'll take it off right here. Let's see how that looks. So there's the front of the forest now. That's better. I think I'm still too tall. The trees in the back are still too tall overall. I think I've got to take them back further. If I look from the side view here, I think I need to reduce them more. So I will. There's lots of buds all along here. So I think this back one needs to be quite short. I think I'll take it off. There's a bud out here. I'll take it off to here. So there's the front now. The back trees should look like the front trees, except smaller in diameter, but you want the overall thickness of the trunk to the height of the tree to be similar, so they look like they're the same tree almost, but back further. I'm thinking this one's too tall. I think I've got to take it back further. I've got to bud out the front, so I'll take it off just above there. To there. It's looking better. I think my outside tree here is too tall. I'm going to take it back to here. And this one, I've got a bud here and one here, so I'll take it back further too. And this one back. So there's the front now. I think this one's too tall. I could take it back to this branch. I have a bud out the back, so I'll take it off to here. Like that. That helps. And maybe this one can come back also. Take this one back. I tried to keep this division up here, but it's just too tall still. So I'm going to take it back to here. I think that's still too tall for an outside tree. So I'm looking for buds. I have some here and here, so I'll take it off to here. That's still too tall. Take it off to here. So that's looking better. I think this outside one is too tall. Again, I tried to keep the branching, but I think I've got to take it off shorter. Yeah. Maybe even shorter. It's better. I still think this one's too tall. I'm going to take it back more. You want some shape to your forest. You don't want all your trees being the same height, or it looks like just a row of boring trees. Yeah, you want some variety in heights. Well, I think it's getting closer. I feel this one's too high. It is. I got buds here, here, here. Better take it back. Here I go, big cut. Off it goes. Yeah, that's better. Has more of a kind of asymmetrical triangular silhouette. I better take this branch back a bit further. I still think the back two trees here could be shorter. If I look from the side view, they're a little tall still, so I need to take them back even more. So I will. to there. Now, how's that looking? I am very pleased with that. The only thing I need to do is prune this one branch back shorter here. Maybe even this one. Like that. I think that's it. Yes. So there's the front view. Let me zoom in. I'll show you a close-up. So there is a look at the forest. I think that's looking pretty good. These should, burst out with new branches in spring. So I overwinter this forest in the heated greenhouse here, trying to keep it just above freezing or not too far below freezing. And they seem to overwinter quite well in those conditions. I can see, maybe some more branch pruning on this tree once I see what comes out in spring, but for now, I think it's all looking good. It looks like more like a miniature forest now. So the last thing I want to do today is do some weeding. Make sure they're not going to spread in spring, so let me do that. Here's a look at what I took off the forest. So there's the forest kind of from above. And here's what I took off today. So a lot of branches. Really reducing it back. But these are, London plane trees. They backbud really nicely. I think all will go well in spring. It'll be interesting to see how this forest looks at the end of next summer. Should be a little more mature looking. I should have better branching. Hopefully smaller leaves a little bit. Yeah, so now you can see all the weeds I have in here. I've got to pick those out. I just remembered I better seal all my new cuts I did. So I'm not intending on repotting this forest this spring. I think I'll leave it another year and then I will have to repot it because I want to keep these root systems on track, radial and well balanced while the trees are young. Once the root base kind of thickens up, you're kind of left with what you have. You can't do a lot of correction on old trees unless you do some pretty drastic root pruning or air layering or something to get the root base back under control. So I prefer to repot these young trees fairly often and working on the roots each time. And that kind of keeps them in good shape as they develop. So you don't have, you don't suddenly have to do some drastic work to get the root system under control and looking miniature. These trees are fairly well established now. They're quite firm in the pot. And I did notice underneath the pot, there's a lot of roots. If you see that, there's like a mat of roots underneath that were growing out the drainage holes and into the water. So I can prune those away. Because the trees are dormant now, they won't need these roots. If I did this in the middle of summer, you might notice a setback in your trees because they'd suddenly lose all these roots growing down into the water. But at this time of the year, it's no problem removing them. There's quite a thick mat on the bottom here. More than I expected. Those will dry up, those root tips. Okay, back to reading. Getting liverwort out. I've completed the work on my London plane tree forest for today. So I'll spin it around so you can see what the forest looks like from all angles. So here is the front, coming around to the right hand side, to the back, to the left hand side, and back to the front. Thanks once again to Adam for sending me the Happy Bonsai Handbook. He also sent me a copy for Blue Jay Bonsai and one for Connor. And there's a picture of Connor's indoor winter setup in the book, which is pretty cool. So the next time I see them, I will give them the books. I can imagine how much time and devotion it took to create a book like this, Adam. So congratulations, it's well worthwhile. And that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.